Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
And there's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
World.
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest. Hello and welcome back to The Reheat, a podcast that re-examines the spiciest celebrity news and scandals of yesteryear and asks how would we react to the same events if they transpired today. I'm Steph Hassan.
And I'm Sarah Sahagian, and this week we will be discussing one of the world's most low-key big box office stars. Can you guess who it is? Well, if you've ever had brunch with me or discussed celebs with me on the playground, you know we're doing a deep dive on Amanda Seyfried, star of such international smash hits as Les Mis, both Mamma Mia's, as well as more prestige fare like, okay, let's talk about my personal favorite, HBO's Big Love, and 2025's critically acclaimed The Testament of Anne Lee. Seyfried also won an Emmy a few years ago for portraying fraudster Elizabeth Holmes in a limited series, and you can see her right now, starring alongside Sydney Sweeney in the hit thriller The Housemaid. So, it's one of those things where she is actually just a huge star, but I don't know how much we think or talk about her. Her life is also more scandalous than most people realize because of that. So, Sadaf, when did you first discover Miss Seyfried?
Well, you and I are so similar in this way because it was also Big Love. I loved Big Love. Oh my God. Can we discuss it for a quick
Oh my God. Yes.
I feel like this is one of the most underrated HBO classics still. Yes. Phenomenal cast. I mean, Chloe Sevigny, Bill Paxton, Jean Triplehorn.
Oh my God. Jennifer Goodwin.
Yeah. Oh my God. And they were all phenomenal. And Amanda Seyfried had like a very small role. She played one of the many children of this polygamist family, but she was so great. And then I started to see her pop up in other things. Personal favorites, I gotta say, the Mamma Mia's. I've enjoyed her in those so much. I think the fun thing about her is that she can do very, very similarly to Rose Byrne. I feel like she can hop between drama and comedy and also musicals. And she's great. She's also very off kilter. Like there's something unusual about her, something very offbeat, and I just love it.
Yeah, I also find her a very charismatic and quirky screen presence, which is interesting because I don't think she is on promotional circuits or just in real life, but she is one of those performers who she is a performer. When she's performing, she's the most charming person in the world. She's so captivating. And in real life, there is that contrast, which I think is why she's not a bigger celebrity, even though she is so accomplished and so successful. Anyway, it's interesting. She's a bundle of contradictions. Before we get too far into this episode, let's talk origin story. Born on December 3rd, 1985, Amanda is an elder millennial. She grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where she did some modeling and studied opera. Seyfried also trained with a Broadway coach. A few years ago, she told Grazia magazine, a publication I love, "As a child, I was undisciplined, impatient, and noisy." So that's her description, but she sounds actually quite motivated when you hear the list of activities. I don't know. It sounds very self-deprecating. Also, that's just like all children.
Also true. And like, especially theater children, right? Like, that's just who you are. That's part of why you have that beautiful talent, I would say.
In researching her, I have to say she's a very self-conscious person. So I do think she is a harsh critic of herself. Amanda became a teen actor who appeared on soaps like my personal favorite, All My Children, great soap opera, sadly no longer with us. But it wasn't until she played Karen Smith, the bully with the least dialogue, who somehow got the most laughs in 2004's Mean Girls, that her career took off. Amanda had originally auditioned to play Regina George, But the fact that she played a supporting character in a sea of superstars didn't stop her from getting noticed. Seyfried also played Lily Kane, Veronica Mars's murdered best friend on cult classic Veronica Mars. So there she's mostly in flashbacks, but even in the flashbacks, you can't take your eyes off her. She's such a charismatic performer and really makes an impression.
She also has a very unique face, right? Like she's got those big, beautiful eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Her blonde hair is like this kind of really specific sandy color. You don't forget her face, is what I'm trying to say.
No, she looks like a Renaissance painting. She kind of reminds me of Botticelli's The Birth of Venus, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's a face you can't forget. It's very, very memorable. So prestigious opportunities followed, including Amanda's role as the eldest daughter of secret polygamist Bill Henrickson on HBO's Big Love. As we said, so underrated, and perhaps the most feminist American mainstream TV show ever made. Like, in the end, if you watch the whole thing, from the beginning to end, every season, it has a really feminist underlying message. And it makes you think, which is what prestige TV is supposed to do. And not all prestige TV does anymore. A lot of it, especially the true crime stuff, is really derivative. This makes you think.
Oh, yeah. And also, spoiler alert, you get a very, very satisfying ending if you make it through, and you should. And I bet it still holds up very well.
Yes, absolutely. So, Sadaf, what do you think of Amanda's early roles? Do you think part of the longevity of her career comes from playing a series of supporting parts and not getting overexposed too young? It always felt like a treat when you saw her on screen in those early days.
That's such a good question because she was a teenager at the time, right? Like she was quite young when she was in Mean Girls and All My Children. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think it's because she did take smaller gigs, which I know when you're at that age and say what you will about other actors who started young and played really big roles, I feel like you flame out and can burn out a lot sooner. And kids don't act the same way they did when they were younger as they get older. So I feel like it's better to play those bit parts. She also played a lot of little comedic roles, but also things that were just not genre specific even, but very larger than life. Like I think anytime you do a soap, that's what you're doing. Karen in Mean Girls, I mean, come on. She was in House, I remember too. She was in a couple of Justin Timberlake movies, I'm remembering.
Yes,
as well.
she was. In Time. She was in Time.
Yeah. And do
thing.
you remember Alpha Dog?
Yes.
So many cuts. I'm just remembering, I'm going through her resume and I'm like, wow, I grew up with this girl because I've seen pretty much everything and there's a lot to speak of. But yeah, even Mamma Mia, like you can never double that role. You're never going to play that again. Jennifer's Body. Come on.
Jennifer's Body was great. That's a really underrated movie.
Right?
Also, that was the first movie where someone had the brilliant idea way before Promising Young Woman to cast Adam Brody as a creep.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is ingenious, right? Like, he was game for it. I actually have to say, I think that's the best he's ever been in anything. I think he was really good at that.
I think you're so right. I forgot about that. I love that movie, by the way, guys. And I mean, we should probably do a whole episode on Megan Fox, I think, because that's another really interesting person. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, she did Lovelace. Like she did so many things that I think a lot of people probably wouldn't do when they're just breaking into the industry. And I think it's spoken very well for her. She's done a lot of small things too, right? And I think she built a lot of really good indie cred. So she made the smart move. If I were an actor and I were breaking in, that's how I would want to start my time. I think it's the smartest way.
Yes. And she always showed up in a really professional way. I remember a long time ago when she was at the Toronto International Film Festival, I think she was there to promote Adam McGuigan's Chloe, which another great indie film where she is opposite Julianne Moore. There's this story that went around, and I don't know if this is true or not, but that she couldn't find her hotel and she asked the paparazzi to show her where it was.
Oh, I love that. Why is that the sweetest thing, I love that.
I know. Like, well, you guys would know because you're waiting for celebrities all the time. Which one's this hotel? That's smart. That's problem solving.
I love that too. And by the way, this reminds me, because reminder, guys, we're Toronto girls. She feels like an honorary Toronto girl because she's worked with Adam McGuigan so much. And I feel like she spends a lot of time here and she's always at TIFF. And that just makes me like her more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she lives in upstate New York. She's basically Canadian. Like, basically.
True.
Basically. Okay.
You're right.
Anybody in upstate New York, If you asked them, I think the majority would say, yeah, we'd rather be part of Ontario. Like, I
Correct.
think the upstate people, right? They know.
They vibe is the same. Yeah.
If you go to Buffalo, everything is in both Canadian dollars and American dollars. They'll show you what it costs in Canadian dollars. They love us there. We are their people, right?
They do.
Anyway, so she's one of us. So I think part of it is she didn't get overexposed. And I don't even know if that was strategy. She might have just gotten lucky. It could have been if people had offered her bigger roles, she would have taken them. I mean, she did audition for Regina George. And in some respects, she was lucky that she didn't get that big villain role so young. I have no idea. I mean, Rachel McAdams wasn't typecast because of that role, but she was older when she got it. And I think because of that, even though she wasn't a big name, she might have already had more credibility with casting directors. So perhaps it was less likely she'd get typecast than Amanda would have.
That's a good point, because if we look back at the cast of Mean Girls, Amanda is the one who's had the most consistent and I would say arguably better career. We love Rachel McAdams,
yes,
but she's not been quite so consistent, right? And I feel like the roles she either gets or chooses these days are not quite at the level they should be. Whereas Amanda, I feel like honestly just gets better and better with each year. It's fascinating.
Everything Rachel McAdams does these days, and I understand she's in a busy time of life, she has more than one child, but everything, it feels like Jennifer Garner passed on this role. Like, that's what it feels like.
Wow,
well, that's what it
Sarah.
feels like. Like, the mom in Are You There, Goddess Me, Margaret?
Oh,
obviously,
totally.
they asked Jennifer Garner first. Come on.
No.
Jennifer Garner plays the mom in all the movies, right? She's actually a big celebrity with little kids like Jack Black. They all know who she is because she's the mom.
That's so funny. That's such a delicious dig, Sarah, I must say.
I love Rachel McAdams. I think she's talented, and I think she's a better actor than Jennifer Garner. No offense to Ms. Garner. I love Jennifer Garner.
I agree.
Jennifer Garner, you are a movie star, right? I mean,
She is.
Yes, exactly. But I do think that Rachel McAdams either doesn't have a great agent or just is taking things that are really easy to take because she's in a busy time of her personal life. And that's fine. That's fine. But Amanda, through some miracle, has managed to have 2 kids and also keep taking on interesting roles, which I mean, great for her. Good for her.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
So let's go farther into Amanda's career. In 2008, Amanda Seyfried brought her big theater kid energy to the big screen, portraying Meryl Streep's daughter Sophie in the screen adaptation of the classic jukebox musical Mamma Mia. And this was the part lots of people wanted, right?
Yeah.
This was the Wicked of its day, I have to say. This was
true.
hotly anticipated. Seyfried has called working with Streep, quote, an incredible experience. And the two appear to be friendly even now. And they, anytime you see them interacting, it seems to be pretty friendly. Well, Mamma Mia was a huge hit. When it came out, the movie even surpassed Titanic as the highest grossing movie in British history, as the English really, really love, I guess, ABBA and musicals.
Yeah.
Right? That's
they
so
have
British.
like a huge long running ABBA musical happening right now. And I'm like, that's so random, but okay.
Yes. I mean, the Brits really, really loved this movie.
They do.
Soon, Amanda was a big name. In fact, she was one of a handful of emerging actresses chosen for Vanity Fair's 2008 Bright Young Hollywood story, which has now become iconic for the wrong reasons. It's become iconic because of the casual racism. As all the performers selected were white, and as racist as Hollywood is, there were actually racialized actors like Gabourey Sidibe who were doing interesting work at that time. So
yeah.
It doesn't really make any sense that this happened. It's just a racist oversight. Amanda had also found, love in addition to finding stardom on the set of Mamma Mia. She found a very, very sexy boyfriend. One of the sexiest all-time boyfriends, Dominic Cooper. The pair dated for approximately 3 years, and because of their competing schedules, they were mostly long distance. The pair were famous, at least in my head, for their red carpet body language.
Yeah.
Look up the pictures, because while they weren't necessarily as cuddly, there wasn't super overt PDA, you can tell they're into each other. They're not trying to prove anything while they're on the red carpet, but the look Dominic Cooper is giving Amanda at all times says, I'm going to own you 3 times in the hotel later. Like, I'm going to do that. Like, these people cannot wait to go hook up again, right? Like,
I love that.
It's just the look. He's always giving her sex eyes. Like,
Sarah,
always.
same brain, because I always used to think these two are so in love. The way that they would both look at each other on every red carpet. They also seem to have the same goofy sense of humor. Like, I just love them together.
Yes. And Dominic Cooper, so sexy. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say one of the sexiest actors we grew up with. Like, has he ever had to wait for a second date to sleep with anyone? To sleep with anyone? Probably not.
I wouldn't. You and I wouldn't. We're in bed on that first date, please, God.
Dominic Cooper is just so attractive.
He is.
And so they were a really good looking couple. They just, oozed sexiness. I don't think they oozed true love at any point. Like, in my opinion, I think they seemed more in lust than in love. But at that age, that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
True.
In your 20s, when you're super hot and you're not ready to settle down, that's the way it should be, right? Anyway, I can't help but think that Amanda was thinking about Dominic when she later gave this quote to Elle in 2013, long after they broke up. Quote, "Everybody I've dated, I've been sexually attracted to immediately." And then she later added, "Sparks don't grow. Your vagina doesn't become more inclined to wanting someone just because you're around them." So, fair, Amanda.
You know, I don't know if I totally agree, because I think sometimes, and I'm someone who definitely shits where they eat. So like, I have, for instance, worked with people, so been in close proximity very often. And over time, I'll be like, you know what? Suddenly I got something for you. But I agree with her. When you're immediately sexually attracted to someone, damn, there's nothing quite like that lusty bond, as you said. Like, I can believe that this was about Dominic, 100%.
Sadaf, before we move on, what are your final thoughts? Do you miss this couple? Were you sad when they broke up?
Was I sad when they broke up? Yeah, you know why? Because especially around that time, I just was obsessed with when actors who play partners in a show or a movie would be dating in real life. Like, I remember around this time, I was so deeply happy about Alexis Bledel and Milo Ventimiglia dating. Do you remember that? In the Golden Girls, Gilmore Girls era. And I was just so happy about it. And I felt like this was a version of that. So I was sad about that, especially because I also loved the way that they would look so in love with each other. Yeah, so it made me a bit sad for sure. But they also weren't as public and a consistent relationship that I would see like Alexis and Milo, because they were on TV. So I wasn't as devastated. How did you feel?
I kind of felt like it was inevitable. They were long distance. They're both really attractive, so they could find other people really quickly. And we'll talk more about what broke them up after this break.
So, you're running out of closet space. But the good news is, you don't need to stop shopping. You just need to start selling with The RealReal. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted source for authenticated luxury resale. Whether it's that mini bag that can't even fit your phone, or those boots you never fully broke in, The RealReal handles everything. From photography and copywriting to shipping and pricing. So you can just sit back, get paid, and make room for things that actually feel like you. And with 10,000 plus new arrivals every single day from top designers like Prada, Celine, Louis Vuitton, and Loewe, all for up to 90% off retail, you're bound to find something perfectly on brand to fill that extra closet space with. Plus, only for the month of January, you can earn up to $550 extra when you sell. Make room for what feels like you. Go to therealreal.com to start selling and earn up to $550 extra to keep shopping. That's therealreal.com. Terms apply.
Well, it's time to talk about why Dominic Cooper and Amanda Seyfried couldn't make it work. Sexy as they were together, Cooper and Seyfried's relationship was pretty scandalous. So his former girlfriend of 12 years alleges it started when she and Cooper were sort of on a break, but actively talking about building their future together and potentially getting back together. Cooper's former girlfriend of 12 years, Carolyn, told Grazia in 2009, again Grazia, quote, "He didn't want to be on a break, but I insisted. He went off to Greece and I knew about Amanda straight away. Dom didn't tell me. I heard it from friends. I honestly thought it was a 5-minute fling." So I don't know. I mean, Sadaf, what do you think? Is this all very Rachel Green from Friends, right? Because if you're on a break, you're on a break. You're on a break from your relationship. I mean, if you're on a break, even if you're still talking to someone, you still know them. Do you owe them monogamy unless that's explicitly stated?
I live in that gray space. I've also got a little bit of a fuckboy reputation, so maybe don't listen to me. But I'm with you, and I'm with Ross, I suppose, because I feel like, yeah, if you're on a break, you're on a break. I'm sorry, but that's a pause. And quite frankly, I feel like what somebody does in that period of time is none of my business. Like, unfortunately, though, these people are celebrities, so it's going to end up in the tabloids. It's getting reported, in which case I suppose it becomes your business. Maybe then you should flag that person, but I don't know. I don't buy into that. I think it was a time when they were allowed to do whatever they wanted, and I do think it was also more than a 5-minute fling. I'm sorry, Carolyn.
Yeah, well, it turned out to be that. But their murky origin story kind of proved to be a harbinger of things to come. So cheating rumors surrounded the couple pretty much as soon as they went public. In 2009, tabloid Star reported that Cooper was getting close with another co-star, Ruth Negga, also very beautiful.
Yes.
So here's what they wrote. Dominic Cooper has gotten too close for comfort with his Phaedra co-star, Irish Ethiopian beauty Ruth Negga, and his girlfriend Amanda Seyfried is spitting mad over it. An insider says that while rehearsing at London's National Theatre, Dominic, 31, and Ruth, 26, were caught making out in a rehearsal room. They claimed it was just a rehearsal, but they certainly looked shocked when a cast member walked in. Also, can you imagine being so desperate to cover something up that you pretend you're making out because you're rehearsing making out? That's so weird.
It's so goofy, but again, if I were an actor, I would absolutely use that excuse. It's the best excuse, Sarah, if that is your profession. Yes, I'm practicing. We're rehearsing. Come on now. We need to make sure we get the kiss right. Surely.
I haven't seen this play, so I don't know how much making out there is in it. I mean, maybe that is believable. Maybe there's just a ton of physical intimacy. I don't know.
May I say, though, that I loved these two together. I'm so sorry, Amanda. I loved Dominic and Ruth together. They were such a sexy couple. And I don't know if it's this man and his smolder, but again, they always looked so in love and sexy together. Like, I know they were fucking too. I loved them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everyone should date someone like this when they're young and hot, right? Not when you're ready to settle down and there are stakes, but when you're young and hot and having fun and you're like, everyone should do this. We should all be so lucky. I'm just happy for both Ruth and Amanda that they got this experience. And actually, in some ways, I feel like the cheating almost enhances the experience because you can't look back and wonder, like, should I have ended up with him? You shouldn't have, which might be why Amanda and Dominic are actually still friends to this day. They're actually friendly. I don't think there's any hard feelings. Yeah, they know that they're not. I think they just knew that it wasn't going to work out. Like, he wasn't going to be her serious person.
That's really interesting. I also get the sense that she's very pragmatic.
Yes.
But I think we're going to get into why, because she wasn't any different than him.
No. So after their breakup, Amanda told Elle that the issue with her relationship is this. She was, quote, foolishly thinking that she and Dominic were monogamous.
Wow.
So Dominic was doing that thing that millennial men do that I kind of hate, where they just don't tell you they want to be polyamorous. And then when you assume monogamy based on implications or just how much time you're spending together, then they treat you like you're an idiot and are like, we were never dating. And it's like, you were on red carpets together, like you were dating. So I don't know for sure. He said something.
I mean, I think you're probably right. He has that energy. And part of it too, I feel like, is that they don't want you to be dating anybody else. How convenient.
Exactly. And so I don't know for sure if he straight up gaslit her. I mean, they were long distance. So yeah, it's one of those things where you should probably actually talk about whether or not you're monogamous explicitly. So I feel like they might both be in the wrong here, because why would you assume monogamy when you're long distance? But also, you're red carpet official. So why would you assume non-monogamy? On the other hand, I think these two people were just young and not good at being in a relationship, which you need to practice being in a relationship. It is a skill. So I think in this case, that's why it doesn't go well.
Oh, that's really interesting, Sarah, that being in a relationship is a skill. I agree with you. And I also love the point that if you are a red carpet official, I would assume
Yes,
Again,
I
in
know.
the theoretically,
That's her
if I-
boyfriend.
yes, I would think that we are together, sir. Like, come on.
I know. Like, no, you're my red carpet fuck buddy. Like, no,
Yeah,
that's your
exactly.
boyfriend. I'm sorry. It's giving, on you didn't watch this season of Nobody Wants This, but it's not good. But there is a scene where Kristen Bell is calling out Adam Brody because there's this woman who dated Adam Brody's character who calls into Kristen Bell's podcast and is like, actually, this guy is like a jerk and a fuckboy because he took me to an intimate family wedding and bought me flowers for my birthday and did all these things. And then he was like, oh, we were never dating. And he broke up with me. We were never serious. And then he explains to Kristen Bell, well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be serious with her. So the wedding was a test. The flowers were just me being a nice guy. Right. And I think a lot of men think this way. A lot of them think this way and don't realize they're being jerks. And that is the vibe I get when I think back to Dominic Cooper going on a red carpet with Amanda Seyfried, flying across the Atlantic Ocean to visit her, doing all these things for her, and then being like, did you think we were exclusive? Did you think I was your boyfriend? Like,
oh my God, I so agree. Because also, I'm not going to fly that far. I'm not going to fly at all if we're just fuck buddies. I mean, maybe I would if I were richer. I had all these options as a beautiful actress, but I just don't see it. I feel like as much as we both want to sleep with this man, I fear that he is quite the classic fuckboy, right? Like you're right. I think he gaslit her.
I don't even know if he knew he was doing that, though.
That's true. Men are stupid.
Don't know.
Men are
I
stupid.
don't know.
Yeah.
And I think in his mind, he's probably like, well, when we're together, she has a great time, very present. I mean, I'm sure she had a great time when they were together. I'm sure. So anyway, Amanda Seyfried has said that the relationship left her, quote, heartbroken. But that's true of a lot of relationships in your 20s. And, she moved on. It's fine. They're still amicable, right? They were able to do the Mamma Mia sequel. Apparently there was no drama. It was all fine. So I feel like you look back and you're like, I loved, I lost. I'm grateful for the amazing sexual memories, like all of that.
Yeah, I think the fact that they're friends still and they were able to shoot a sequel says so much, and I'm glad about it. Again, if you can be pragmatic about these past flings, why not? Because I'm sure they hooked up again. I don't doubt that.
Yeah. This time there was more transparency, probably.
Come on, they definitely fucked on the sequel. Like, there's no way they didn't. I'm just saying.
I think she was nursing her baby. Like, she was married.
I mean, Sarah, we're gonna get into it, but I'll let you say it.
Okay, maybe. I mean, it
think
might have
so.
happened. I don't know what her relationship arrangement looks like with her husband. I don't know. Well, Amanda got back on the proverbial horse, and other celebrity relationships ensued, including a brief dalliance with Reese Witherspoon's ex, Ryan Phillippe. He has a type. And of course, the personification of MacBooks, Justin Long.
Thank you for that.
In interviews since then, she has implied that the relationship with Justin Long was, quote, a dead-end relationship. She doesn't specifically name him, but she has implied that the guy she was dating at the time she was dating Justin Long, that was a dead-end relationship. So I'm assuming it's Mac who was the dead-end relationship. Anyway.
Mac. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, that's so interesting, because I feel like, speaking of like having an interesting pattern, I think Justin dates a lot of fascinating women. Like, I love his string of women. And oh, yeah, I always was curious what that relationship was like. I thought it might be quite fun. And then also her with Ryan Phillippe sounded like a very Dominic Cooper thing to me. Like, I also think that was probably lust heavy. But I don't know, we just keep projecting in this episode, don't we?
I don't find Ryan Phillippe attractive.
Come on. Really?
No.
I think he's gorgeous.
No, I don't.
You know what, though? He's deep in my DNA just because, he was part of my many sexual awakenings in the 90s. So
I remember watching Cruel Intentions and being like, how are all these girls constantly seduced by this man? I don't get it.
Okay. See, the way you feel about Dominic, that's how I felt about Ryan.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Come on now. He was so beautiful in Cruel Intentions. Absolutely.
teen, I never liked the mainstream choice. I preferred Dawson to Pacey. Like I never picked.
I loved Pacey. I
one
hated
everyone else picked.
Dawson.
I never picked the one everyone else picked, which, you know what? I think Nail, I've been proven right. I think James Van Der Beek has a much better personality and is a much nicer person and a better partner.
Although he comes off rather, listen, the man's not well right now. I don't want to say anything negative about him, but he does come off a little bit cult-like. I gotta say, him and his family.
Think if you're living with stage 3 cancer, whatever gives you comfort. You know, a lot of people turn to spirituality at that time.
And I think it was before that started, because I also isn't his family anti-vax?
I don't know. And I don't like that about him, if that's true.
I think it might be.
But I really liked him on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, where he just makes fun of himself. He plays himself. Too. I thought that was
quite
genius.
funny. Yeah, I agree.
Amazing comedic performance.
Yeah.
And it shows range because that's not at all what he's like in real life.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a weird little aside about why I love James Van Der Beek as a performer. And it has nothing to do with Amanda Seyfried.
Sorry. Back on track.
Sorry. No, this is my fault. It's my fault. Okay. Amanda's career was also going strong during this time. She portrayed Cosette in 2012's Oscar-winning screen adaptation of Les Mis. Amanda is also the reason Anne Hathaway wore that unfortunate pink dress with the ill-placed darts to win her Oscar, because Anne realized shortly before the show that her original dress was pretty similar to Seyfried's Alexander McQueen gown. Anne decided not to ask Amanda to change. Instead, she changed and did not change well. She could have picked a different dress. I think they should have worn the almost matching dresses. It's cute. They're playing mother and daughter. It's cute.
I think it would have been sweet. But I love that Anne didn't ask Amanda to change. I think that's the polite thing to do. Like, if you don't like it, you change yourself. Maybe not the best choice.
No, but I agree. I think that's the classy thing to do, especially because it's interesting. Definitely Anne was a slightly bigger name. Although I do think it would have become a huge scandal if this had come out, because she wasn't that much bigger and her part wasn't any bigger. So I think that it would have been seen as massive entitlement, right? So she kind of couldn't do that, even if she'd wanted to ask Amanda to change. Well, you can listen to more details about this bizarre fashion scandal in our Anne Hathaway episode. We go deep into this really interesting style scandal. And then in 2015, Amanda's life changed forever when the actress started experimenting with doing off-Broadway theater. So here's what happened. She met the man who would become her husband, Thomas Sadowski, whom I will always know as John Kiefer from The Newsroom.
Of
That's
course.
who he will be to me, even though he's actually a really accomplished Tony Award-winning theater actor. So I probably shouldn't reduce him to John from The Newsroom. That's not fair. And when Amanda started working with Tom, she told Chelsea Handler in a 2025 interview that she knew she wanted to be with someone like him. That's the way she put it, like him. However, when they first crossed paths and they were first working together and Amanda realized she wanted someone, quote, like him, Tom was still married. He had been married to casting director Kim Hope for 8 years. So Tom and Amanda have always maintained that they met and worked together before his marriage was over, and it ended. But the marriage ended before anything happened, right? That's what they maintain, that they didn't become romantic at all until his marriage was over and until it was properly over. It's not even like he gave her a call and asked her out for dinner or said, I'm going to ask you out for dinner when I get divorced. They claim there was no overlap, that Tom didn't even know Amanda liked him until he was divorced. That's what they claim. So Tom's marriage ended in October of 2015, and that is around the time Amanda told Chelsea Handler that they reconnected. The couple went public 10 years ago in March of 2016, so soon thereafter, as Amanda explained on Chelsea Handler's podcast, she was holed up in her country house feeling sad about love when Tom got divorced, so she was feeling really defeated. And it wasn't until she called him out for liking some other girl's post on Instagram that he realized she was into him. So Amanda says, I was an asshole. And apparently that's how he knew that she liked him. And I mean, that's relatable, actually. So by September of 2016, they were engaged. So if we are to believe this timeline, they get engaged 11 months later, which is not, I mean, listen, that happens a lot in the real world. But do we really believe, this is the question that everyone has, that nothing happened and he had no idea she liked him and she wasn't thinking about him as a partner, just that she wanted someone like him? This is the thing. A lot of people are suspicious of this. Not everyone believes that they didn't get together until the marriage was officially over, including one naysayer who does not believe this story is Canada's own Lainey Louie of LaineyGossip.com. And there are a lot of articles you can find in her archives that allude to her being skeptical. Now, I don't know if she had actual tips and intelligence that she felt she just couldn't share and report on because she didn't want to get sued, or if she was just suspicious. It's not actually clear. But definitely there are people who thought it was like a little bit sketchy. And by March of 2017, 1 year after they went public as a couple, Amanda gave birth to their daughter. And listen, I'm happy to them. The couple has been together for over a decade. They seem to really be making it work. But here's what Lainey Gossip wrote in March of 2016. This is an article from the blog. This is when they went official and became a new celebrity couple. Lainey responds, "What's the meaning of new? Is it new the moment something is confirmed, or is it new when it begins?" Sorry, that was a tangent. So she implies she knows something more, I have to say.
Yeah.
Right? She says, that was a tangent, ... I think there might be some intelligence she has. Other shady comments followed, specifically on that blog. And this begs the question, do we believe that Tom didn't cheat on Kim with Amanda? Was anyone falling for this in 2016? If so, why were we falling for this?
Yeah. I feel like it was obviously bullshit. I feel like these two definitely overlapped. I'm sorry to say. I think there was some cheating here. It's very clear. I think actors can be a lot like athletes. You're traveling all the time for work. It's easy to cheat, and I think it's probably very rampant. We hear about it a lot, and I think there's a reason for that. It's just what it is. Your favorite actors have probably cheated at least once. Just accept it. I think that's what happened here for sure. If you have to work so hard to give a specific timeline, I'm just not buying it. Sorry.
So why don't you think they got more flack? What's interesting here is when Olivia Munn, who's not as famous as Amanda Seyfried, was accused of breaking up John Mulaney's marriage, everyone went postal. Everyone went insane about this. And here's the thing, right? It seems like it was probably a similar situation. It's coming into marriage when it's basically already over and everyone knows it's already over. And then getting together and starting a family pretty quickly because you decide you're right for each other and you want that. So it's a very similar situation. But Olivia Munn was excoriated and Amanda wasn't. So why do you think Amanda got off so easy?
It's such a good comparison. I think they are so similar. The newsroom connection cracks me up. I think it's partly because Olivia Munn, I'm sorry to say, it generally throughout her career has been a really divisive figure. She has fans, absolutely, but she also has a lot of haters. And in the meantime, John Mulaney is very beloved. So it was kind of like people felt their man was being taken away because there's also a little bit of dated tropes happening here that are ridiculous. That in the case of Amanda and Tom, Amanda is more beloved than Olivia is, but also she has a way bigger star than Tom does, right? Nobody really knows Tom outside of Broadway or the newsroom. He's not a household name. So I think they got to get away with it a little cleaner. Like, I don't think most people know that there was another woman, and that other woman also didn't have that much of a persona, whereas John Mulaney's ex definitely did, right? And she was actively talking about their split.
And made art about it.
Yeah. Oh my God, boy, did she. Yeah.
Yeah, wrote a memoir about it, basically.
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, if Kim Hope had wanted to dine out on this, maybe it would have been a bit different. It seems like she didn't want to dine out on it. And that doesn't necessarily mean she didn't feel betrayed. She might have. She just didn't want to make that a huge part of her life.
I agree.
That's totally fine. That's your choice. I just find it interesting because, okay, people love a cheating scandal. America is so puritanical. They love it when a beautiful movie star breaks up someone's marriage because they love to hate on her. Think of Angelina Jolie. Think of all of the cheating scandals, right? People friggin' love it. So I just find it interesting that she's the exception to the rule. And I still can't fully understand why she is spared the consequences, why everyone chooses to believe this timeline coming from her and no one else. Because yes, she was beloved, but she wasn't the biggest star of her generation. And it's not like we can say she wasn't really a star. She was just sort of an actor for hire. And, because if you get somebody like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an actor who is just an actor. Like if you get like a Cate Blanchett who did this.
Yeah.
I think she'd probably be like, I'm not a celebrity. I'm an actor and I'm in movies.
Sure.
Like, I don't want your judgment and I don't care, right? And people might say, okay, fine. We don't really have a parasocial relationship with this woman in the same way. But Amanda was a star. And so that's why this really confuses me.
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting. I love the comparison you make with Angelina or Elizabeth Taylor because there's the blonde and brunette at play too again, isn't there? Like it's God, you know what? All these patterns never end. It's interesting. And the thing that bothers me the most too is that it's usually the women who are attacked when in this case specifically, Tom is the one who was already taken, right? Is he the one that we should be coming after? So I don't know. I think it's fascinating. I love what you have always said on this podcast, that infidelity is not that crazy. We've made it in the West. I am obsessed with that take of yours. I think you are so spot on. I think we got to get over it a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we do too. And I'm glad that Amanda wasn't taken to task for this because clearly the marriage was over, right? It was, if one person flirting with you, if that's what happened, is enough to destroy your marriage, it's already done, right? Then Kim Hope shouldn't have wanted to stay with him, right? I mean, the woman who takes your husband, as painful as it can be at the time, is ultimately doing you a favor. And that's kind of the Debbie Reynolds perspective. Like, you can't take a man who doesn't want to leave.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that there wasn't this archaic anti-feminist perspective on her, that, she was this man-stealing woman who was, this Jezebel, right? I'm glad that it was okay for her. I'm just baffled about how she's the only person who got lucky. I'm just still confused.
I agree.
To this day.
I know.
Like even Claire Danes, who I would say at the time where, remember the Billy Crudup marriage, and she was the other woman. She was about as famous at the time as Amanda Seyfried was at this time. And that was way bigger news.
That's such a good one, Sarah. And that is a delicious one that people forget about. Billy Crudup was with Mary Louise Parker, right? And he cheated with Claire Danes. And listen, they were all names at the time. They weren't nothing. And God, and another blonde and brunette at play. Oh my God.
I know. And Mary Louise Parker was even, I think, pregnant when he cheated.
Yes, she was.
So I guess that's slightly heightened. That's a bit more heightened. I get why that becomes big news. And in the long term, people did forgive Claire Danes, but it took a while. That followed her.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Billy was just fine.
Yeah. And I think we can't, but I don't think we can say the reason why Amanda Scandal wasn't a big deal was because Tom was just Broadway famous. Because remember how the world reacted when Ariana stole SpongeBob.
Good point, Sarah. But now, do you think that that is partly because Ariana, and you guys can learn more about this in our episode on Ariana, but she has a very long history of stealing a man.
Yeah. And I mean, Amanda, we can't prove she's done this before. I know Dominic's ex-girlfriend felt like Amanda was the other woman, but hey, they were on a break. And if I see someone hot when I'm working on a movie set in Greece and he tells me he and his girlfriend aren't together, what am I supposed to do? Hire a private investigator to verify that that's true?
I mean, that's the reality too, right? That's why I think you and I are both like, it's cheating, get over it. Because the reality is there's not much you can do to stop it. And I don't know that I would want to stop it because as the great Debbie Reynolds, who just quoted, said, it's not going to happen if there isn't already an issue, right? And by the way, I do just want to add though that Ariana and SpongeBob, he also had the mother of his child had just given birth when he stepped out. So very similar to Billy Crudup again. My God.
Well, I think it is time for another short break. And we are back. In the end, it all worked out well for Amanda. She and Tom have been married for around 9 years. They share 2 beautiful children and multiple beautiful homes. Did you watch the Architectural Digest tour of their New York apartment, which I don't think they live in anymore, but it was gorgeous. Did you see that?
It was really, really beautiful. And I think once you get an Arc Digest tour, that says a lot about your relationship. I love to see it. I mean, I don't mean it means that you're doing amazing, because hello, Lily Allen, David Harbour, but I do think it means that you've reached a point where you have absorbed each other and the house is a part of you. And I think that says a lot, because these two also have a farm together, don't they?
Oh, yeah. They have multiple beautiful houses.
They're presenting as a very great couple is what I mean to say.
Oh, yeah. Well, that house is so tasteful. And I have no idea. I mean, she worked with a decorator, and it's gorgeous, and it's the epitome of quiet luxury, because you don't look at this and say, oh, this is gaudy. Like, I'm offended that you're showing me this, right? You're just like, oh, how lovely. Like, I'd love a New York apartment like this too, right?
Yeah.
You look at it and you're like, at first, okay, I didn't realize how big the apartment was, because when she first enters the home, I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like my townhouse. And then I realized it was much, much better because it's much bigger. That long hall. She goes down that long hallway. And I'm like, oh, okay. Amanda Seyfried is not just like me. But,
I know. I wish.
I wish. They clearly have great taste, or at least a great decorator, which is, you can buy great taste. That's fine. So they have a very aspirational life. Amanda has also had some of her greatest career successes, I have to say, after marrying Tom. So even though they seem very committed to their family and she's had 2 kids, she has managed to take her career to better and better places. She earned an Oscar nomination for the 2020 film Mank. She also garnered her first Emmy statue for portraying con artist Elizabeth Holmes in 2022 in The Dropout. And currently, as we mentioned earlier, Amanda is starring in both The Testament of Anne Lee, Prestige Fair, and a popcorn movie, The Housemaid. So her career is so enviable, right? She's got this diversity in her roles. It's awesome. Her IMDb page is great. And she was also, the second choice for Galinda in Wicked, but even actually talks about that in this really zen way. She's not bitter. She apparently went in 6 times to audition for the role. She was really close to getting it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I think she would have been just as good as Ariana, but in a different way. I think it would have had more of a theatrical vibe to it. And I love Amanda Seyfried. And I think Ariana was good as Galinda. I think that Amanda's might have been more traditional, might have been more in the vein of what you saw if you saw it on Broadway. Mm-hmm. That's just my take on it. Anyway, they did what they did. The movie is still good. But anyway, here's what she had to say about missing out on that part when she was on the Envelope podcast. And I have to say, I really respect just how philosophical she is about it. She says, I went hard for that for sure. And it was a very long process. And everything happens the way it's meant to. I wish I could be that zen. She sounds great. Even when she doesn't get a huge part that she worked so hard to get. Because Amanda at this point doesn't have to audition, right? But she did for this and then still didn't get it. And a lot of celebrities would have been really insulted. I think they would have felt like it was an indignity, but she seems okay.
Yeah, I think part of it is that she has to, right? Like, if you want continued a career in Hollywood, you cannot be bashing this, because I feel like she's very upset. And she's just very good at, again, being very pragmatic, being very diplomatic. Good for her. I think she really wanted that part, and it probably really sucks to know that a pop star got that role over you. Mind you, I love Ariana in this role, and I am so with you. I think Amanda would have been great. It just would have been a different kind of great, right? Like a different Galinda.
Yeah, absolutely. And this brings me to the question I have been dying to ask you all episode, Sadaf. Amanda Seyfried has the sort of career most movie stars would envy. And yet, despite the awards, the acclaim, and her undeniable talent, as well as her box office success, is Amanda Seyfried someone you think of as a movie star? Sure, people around the world can recognize her thanks to the Mamma Mia movies and Les Mis, but despite her enduring success, would you buy a magazine to read about her life? And even if you would, because I know that we will read about anyone, do you think your sister would, or your cousin would, or your friends would?
That's such a good question, Sarah. You know what? I think on paper you could say that she is, because this is also a really good time to talk about The Housemaid, because this movie has broken so many box office records. It's kind of wildly unexpected. It's about to surpassed $200 million globally. That's insane. It's number one in so many places around the world. This is wild because it's an R-rated movie. It stars two women. So it's Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. Now, here's what I find fascinating. I think a lot of people are assuming it's doing so well because of Sydney. However, all of the last few films Sydney had have tanked big time at the box office because her reputation is also sinking a little bit.
Yeah.
She's been very conservatively aligned, shall we say, lately. She's dating Scooter Braun rather bizarrely. She had that terrible jeans. Like, it's been an odd time. So here's what I'm wondering. Is Amanda Seyfried a big part of the reason it is such a box office hit? I think so, which would suggest that she is a movie star, but she's way more subtle than, say, an Angelina Jolie, who we mentioned previously, right? Or even a Michelle Williams, who you mentioned. Like, it's just a different playing field. But I do think on paper, yes, she has a lot of power. She's also just really good. And I feel like that's part of what works so well in The Housemaid, probably. We haven't seen it yet, need to. But I don't know. I like thinking her of as one, but I think it's also what you were saying earlier. She's kind of just an actor. Like, I don't think of her as someone who I'm going to see on the cover of a magazine, then run out and buy it. No, not really. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think she's charismatic in person, which is fine because that's not her job. Her job is to be a performer, and she's very charismatic on screen.
I agree.
So I'm okay with that. But I think that's part of why she's not somebody where tabloids are always writing about her, even though she actually has done some scandalous things, because she's kind of boring. She doesn't really do them with flair. There's not a lot of flair or panache in her personal life. And that's okay. That is okay. She reminds me of the moms I see at school pickup, right? Like, she has a job, she's busy, and watches Dateline. Like, literally in her Architectural Digest tour, she's just like, after our kids go to sleep, we watch Dateline. I know all celebrities say stuff like that to be relatable. I believe she actually does it. I believe that is what she is doing. Her mom still lives with them, right? She seems
really?
to be, which is cute. She likes crafts. When she's at her farm, she helps out with the livestock. I do believe that she is, has these wholesome interests that are not, I'm sure they're interesting to pursue, but I don't want to read about someone mucking out the manure in their stable. I'm not going to read about that.
No, but I think you nailed it. And at the same time, she is a bit of an oddball. Like, she's very offbeat. And I don't think that really easily lends to movie star status. And I want to add, though, I think that's good. I think that's okay, because I also think that will give her some longevity in Hollywood. So I'm glad about that, because I want to keep seeing her in things.
I think she'll always work. I think initially people wanted her to be the new Michelle Pfeiffer, right? And she even kind of looks like Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
But Michelle Pfeiffer has a lot of star quality in person as well as on screen. And Amanda Seyfried is more of, I think, a theater kid. And I don't know if she wants to be a celebrity. Unlike Anne Hathaway, who kind of became famous. You can listen to her Anne Hathaway episode for being a try-hard. Amanda isn't quite that awkward. She isn't trying to people please to that extent. I do get the impression from listening to her talk about herself. And she says she has anxiety and also that she is a bit of a people pleaser, but she never did anything like apologizing for wearing the wrong dress to the Oscars, right? She never did anything like that. So I think she's not quite at the level of being as much of a pathological people pleaser as Anne Hathaway. So she couldn't be famous for people thinking she was quote unquote cringe, even though I think it's unfair that people think Anne Hathaway is cringe. And then she's not super interesting when she's scandalous. Like, she broke up a guy's marriage, but then, they've been together for 10 years. So it's not like she broke it up and then broke up with him. She didn't burn it all down for the sake of it. It's not like Ariana, who's like burning it all down because that's her fetish. She actually fell in love with a guy and was like, I really like this guy. He's not into his marriage anymore. Let's give it a try. And they're still together.
Dare I say, it actually makes her more interesting. I'm sorry, but these complicated, messy relationships she's been on just make her more fascinating to me. And it tells me this is a woman who's got more to her. She's probably a little goofy and wilder in person. But it doesn't hop off in the same way that you would think. And, I'm never going to be spending time on Amanda Seyfried's farm. It's just not going to happen. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's interesting because I think in some ways she might owe a debt of gratitude to Dominic Cooper for kind of normalizing cheating because maybe she would have had a hang up about it and wouldn't have ended up with Tom if he hadn't sort of put all these wrinkles into their relationship. So you are the product of all the relationships you've been in, all the people you've known. It's all part of your story. She and Dominic really seem to get well together. They're at the very least civil. They made Mamma Mia 2 together. It all seemed to be fine.
Yeah.
Her husband didn't seem threatened by them working together. I actually love that for them. And you know what? I think that if you're going to have a boyfriend where in retrospect you understand that it all worked out the way it was supposed to, it's probably one from when you were young. In my mind, he was for sexual awakening. That was his job. And now she's like, we laughed. We loved. I've moved on.
Well, wait, I have a question for you, Sarah. Do you think these two will stand the test of time? Are she and Tom going to stick it out?
I think that's a really good question. And I don't know, but my instinct would be that I think they will stay together until their kids are out of the house at the very least.
Okay.
I think if they divorce, I think it'll be in a really mundane, real person way, not in a celebrity way. That is my theory about it.
I agree, but I will add one asterisk to it, and people are going to hate me for this, but I feel like one of them will step out because I do feel like you get them the way they're going to leave you. And I hate to say it, knock on wood, because I want them to work it out. I really do, and to stick together. But with celebrities who we see having a pattern like this, it is a pattern, right? Like we spoke of Ariana. I do feel like it will probably happen again because they both got it in their histories. But let's see. I'm keeping a side eye open.
I would be more inclined to think that he will cheat. Just
I do too.
In her history, prior to this, like, I don't know, she was accused of sort of hooking up with Dominic Cooper when he was on a break. How is she supposed to know it was a break and not a breakup? So to me, that doesn't count.
I agree.
He broke up his marriage.
I think it's going to be him. I agree. I think it will be him. So let's see what happens. I hope not.
Real people cheat as well.
Yeah, all the time.
There are some estimates that the majority of marriages are impacted by infidelity.
Oh, wow.
For various reasons. So that's not necessarily a deal breaker for a lot of people. A lot of people see it as one of the many vows you make, and it's not more important or less important than any of the others. So, you wouldn't necessarily get divorced because your spouse was a jerk to you when you were sick, even though, I mean, they vowed to look after you in sickness and in health. So I think it's interesting that in the Western world, we see the only automatic divorce is infidelity when there is a lot of stuff that could be way worse. Like your spouse neglecting you when you have cancer or something like that, to me is way worse than your spouse having a one night stand, right? Because one is a momentary lapse. The other one is just every day choosing not to show up for you. So that's just my take. But I know lots of people feel differently.
I agree. No, I'm with you. And before we wrap up, I do want to I want to give a slight movie recommendation, if that's okay, Sarah.
Yeah.
We mentioned so many great things. Amanda has done so many amazing movies and TV shows. I would highly recommend First Reformed, which I feel like is so underrated on her resume and just generally was. I also really love Ethan Hawke, and they're so good together, like an unexpected match. But please, if you're an Amanda fan, if you love her acting, go watch First Reform. She's so good in it. Yeah. And also, again, Jennifer's Body, also still underrated.
Great movie. Yeah. So this brings us to our final segment, Hindsight is 2026, where we choose the one moment we would have handled differently if we were the subject of today's story. If you were Amanda Seyfried, what would you do?
Oh, that's a really good question because I love a lot of the moves that she's made. I want to bring up, and don't hate me for this, everybody, but I do want to bring up her politics really quickly because I think there's a lot to be said here. She's been speaking up quite a lot recently about how much she loves socialism and her support for Palestine. I think those things are so phenomenal. And we've talked a lot in the past about how valuable it can be when a celebrity speaks up and makes a political statement, again, only if they're well informed, only if they know their audience. And it depends on what they're saying, of course, but I do think it can make a really big impact.
Yep.
Now, since this, a lot of people have been dredging up moments from her past and maybe more Zionisty things that she's talked about in the past or comments she's liked or Instagram posts she's liked. I think that's unfortunate. I wish that wasn't really a part of her history. There's been a lot of talk about how maybe her support for socialism in Palestine is why she's not getting more awards attention, especially for The Testament of Anne Lee, which I think is really unfortunate. That movie did get weirdly kind of like not blacklisted, but very oddly, it disappeared.
It
in
almost
the
got
awards
erased.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's quite odd. And a lot of people are speculating it's because of her politics. And this is not so much something Amanda can do, but it's something that just makes me mad about the press machine right now and Hollywood right now. I don't know if it's true, but I just wish that movie was getting more attention. And I wish her politics didn't speak for her, even though I love her politics. So yeah, I'm giving you a little bit of like a non-answer. It's more of what I wish Hollywood would not do rather than Amanda.
It's funny because she, in some ways, paid more of a price for her comments about Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk's death and her criticism of him than, say, Jimmy Kimmel did. And like Jimmy Kimmel, everyone rallied around him and he was back on TV within a couple of days and kind of got to become a hero. And this is not me criticizing Jimmy Kimmel here. Like, this is not me saying I'm mad that happened. I'm happy that happened. But it does show you sexism in Hollywood manifests in such a way where he's a hero, he's a free speech symbol, and no one's really there to help her. Everyone's just calling her a dumb bitch and telling her to shut up, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just interesting.
No, thank you. And because speaking of recommendations, she's unbelievable in The Testament of Anne Lee. That movie itself is just a really fascinating, creative, honestly, I think it's a little bit of a masterpiece. It's definitely different. It's not for everybody, but I think if you're an Amanda fan and if you're a fan of acting, it's worth seeing. I think it's very unusual. Her performance has just, the talk around it has really disappeared. And I think it's worth thinking about and asking why that is. And thank you for mentioning the Charlie Kirk thing, because she's been very vocal about her distaste for him. And that's not an easy thing to do in Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, she is actually a very political person. And I know that, I mean, her politics, it seems like, have evolved, but that's true for lots of people who aren't celebrities as well.
Yeah.
I also she's been on lots of podcasts. Like she was on Shame Spiral, which is hosted by a queer comedian I really love, Ellie Cremendale. So I like that she seems to be very intentional with the media that she does and trying to help build the platforms of people from marginalized communities. So I think that that's a really cool thing that she does as well. And, you know, a lot of celebrities just wouldn't bother with that. They'd only go to the biggest outlets and then call it a day. But I like that about her. I think that she is trying to live her politics. So that's cool. I think a lot of celebrities are not trying to live what they say their politics are.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what I would do differently. I don't know. I don't know if she's ever really made a huge mistake.
I know, that's the thing.
Make. I don't know. I mean, she's definitely done things that are not perfect. But
yeah,
I feel like in some ways she's perfectly imperfect, where it's like, okay, but if you do fall in love with this guy and his marriage is basically over and he wants to leave his wife for you, why would you say no on principle? I don't know. Why would you? And then it worked out because I can't say, well, you should be smarter than to marry a cheater because they've been together for 10 years. They have 2 kids. Even if they got divorced now, we can't say the relationship wasn't successful on some level. So I don't know. I don't think she's ever really made the wrong choice. Like with Dominic Cooper, should she have clearly defined the relationship? Yeah, but he should have too. And also, then they probably would have broken up way sooner and she wouldn't have these amazing memories and she wouldn't be who she is today. Like, I'm sure she does not regret getting a little bit played by him because they definitely had a lot of great encounters, I have to say.
I'm so with you. This is one of our rare subjects who we don't really have anything to say where they fucked up. Like Amanda, I'm okay with it all. And you mentioned this before, and I want to echo it that, listen, sometimes someone can have bad politics, but they can also evolve. And it's okay to evolve. It's good. We applaud that. Like, it's good when you can overall see maybe where you were wrong or change your views on things. That's great. And I want to give her kudos for that. So yeah, I don't really see her having a misstep anywhere. I think, again, I'll give you another one that Hollywood fucked up on. Maybe they should have given her Galinda, even though I do love Ariana as that character. You know, like, these are not Amanda mistakes.
I agree with you.
Right?
I would have cast her as Galinda. I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to casting people who are going to do it in the Broadway style.
Yeah.
So I think they hit it out of the park with Elphaba. That would not have been my Galinda casting. And I think they were worried that they wouldn't get the international box office if they didn't do some sort of stunt casting
Agree.
with a big name.
And they were probably right.
Yeah, I think they were. I think they probably ran the numbers. And I think it was probably at the very end that decision was made by an algorithm. I think that that's likely what happened.
We wouldn't have had the Cynthia Ariana memes of a lifetime if we didn't have Ariana in the movie, right?
No, I mean, honestly, Amanda seems like she's pretty normal. So she would have been much more normal than Ariana on that press tour.
I agree. I agree. May I add, here's a wish that I have. I would love for Amanda Seyfried to be cast in a Joni Mitchell biopic because she clearly has wanted it for a while.
Yes, that's what she wants.
A lot like Wicked. Yeah, she's talked a lot about how much she's been campaigning for some time.
Yeah.
Right? Now, very infamously last year, she came on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and she showed off her dulcimer skills, which I didn't even know was an instrument. And she performed a little bit of California and I thought it was really lovely. And I just think she would be so good as Joni. And I hope she gets to have that moment. Come on, please, someone give it to her. She needs a good music role, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I also hope she ends up being in lots of other musicals. I think she's really great in musicals. She has that theater kid energy. I hope she gets to be in more prestige TV. I watched that Long Bright River, whatever it was, that kind of Mayor of Easttown ripoff.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It's not good. She deserves better material.
Yeah.
And normally she gets really great material.
She
and
does,
I have to say, you know, Hollywood is merciless to women after 35 because she's not that old. She's 40 and she looks amazing. But, you know, the roles dry up. But I agree with you. I think give her the Joni Mitchell biopic. I hope she can get better television limited series roles. She was so good in The Dropout. I think that
my God,
you can be that convincing in The Dropout. This woman deserves all the opportunities. She's fantastic. Okay, I think this is one of the few people where we're both in total agreement that we really love this person and we don't think that they've ever done a thing wrong in their life.
I know. Can you believe it? And by the way, I will add, she did say recently that she got more work from her Joni Mitchell cover on The Tonight Show than even her Emmy win. So that tells me a lot about how Hollywood operates and also probably speaks well to what you just said, that maybe we'll get more musical Amanda. I hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to make a wish list of all the musicals I want her to be in, all the film adaptations.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we're done the Amanda Love Fest.
We could do it for hours.
We really could. And that brings us to the end of the episode. If you liked this episode, if you like this show, you can listen to more of The Reheat for free on the Seeker app. You can also find the show on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts, where, you know, you can find us anywhere. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me on Instagram at Sahagian Sarah. Sadaf, where can our listeners find you before I have to leave because I'm being summoned to open some stale candy canes by my daughter who's on a snow day?
Goddamn snow days. Okay, so listeners can find me on Twitter at _Sadaf Hassan and on Instagram at Canada Whore. And if you liked this podcast, you know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe. That helps other listeners find us too. Tell your friends about us. And if you'd like us to keep growing, I encourage you to support us on Patreon, where you can actually pick what we talk about next. You can drop by. You can do whatever you want. There's a lot of good freebies. That's on patreon.com/The Reheat. Thank you for listening.
Bye.